Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Is there some kind of echo? No, there isn't. Anyways, we are gonna wait for a few more minutes and then we're gonna start with the session. We're gonna wait for 2-3 minutes. Hi, good evening. Um, yeah. Yeah, so we'll just start and the other people will be joining very soon, I hope. So I'm going to start by introducing myself just like I did yesterday. We had a session yesterday on the basics of Git and GitHub. So we're going to take it from there and we're going to explore in more details what is open source contribution and how to actually do it, like the intricacies of it. We have our guest speaker, Khushbu Kumari, and like she's our what to say, she's a coordinator, and our guest speaker is Meha Bhalodiya. Like she has joined yesterday's session as well. A lot of you already know her. She was there in the live chat. I'll just add her to the stream. She's here. So yeah, I am Shahuti Kundu. I am the host for and organizer for this session. I'm a sophomore student pursuing BTech in computer science. I have a keen interest in AI and ML. And today, after this session, obviously, I'll get some insight on open source contribution. And obviously, I look forward to be an open source contributor along with you all. So, firstly, I'm gonna ask Meha to introduce herself. She is from Gujarat Technical University. She is one of the top 50 contributors of last year's Google Summer of Code 2021. She'll be guiding us throughout the session today. Hi, Neha.
Hi. So
And
yes,
yeah, go ahead.
hello everyone. Myself Meha Bhalodiya. As they already gave a brief introduction about me. Like I am a junior year student pursuing my bachelor's in computer engineering from Gujarat Technological University. And yes, currently I am an intern at CloudYuga Technologies. And yes, that's pretty much about me.
Yeah, so and today we have another coordinator with me who's going to help us to conduct this session. Hi, Khushbu.
Hey everyone, hello Shanati, hello Meha, and my warm evening to all of you present here. So basically, I'm in my second year from the Department of ECE at NIT Hamirpur, and I always believe in the power of community. So yeah, that's why I'm here coordinating with all of you guys to help out you to explore the open source contribution. So yeah, that's it.
So, without any much delay, we are gonna take it from yesterday's session. So, I'll just brief you all what all we covered in yesterday's session. We covered the basics of Git, like what is open source, what is Git, what are the basic commands that we need to be fluent in to actually venture out in open source contribution. So after that, we've covered few commands like git init, git add, git log, git push. All these commands were covered. Today we are gonna take it up from there, and we are gonna start with a open source contribution with GSoC. So here it is. Meha will be guiding us throughout the way. So here we go. I'll ask Meha to take it over from here. And if you all have any queries during any time of the session, just write it down in the chat box. We'll be addressing them either during the session, in the middle of it, if it's possible. Otherwise, we'll address them definitely at the end of the session. So yeah, if you have any queries, just drop them down in the chat box. We'll be there.
So, hello everyone. As Sanati told, I will be going over through this. So, yes, I've already given my brief introduction. So, yes, we are moving on to next. So after completing this session, you will be able to find a project and even a small task according to your interest to get started with. Like, I'm assuming here that everybody is totally new to step out in the open source world, right? So yes, and also I will be giving a hands-on demo to make your first contribution. And also I would like to share, like, many of you thinking that open source contributions might involve only the coding things, but no, it's not like that. There are many types of contributions also which one can do in open source. And yes, definitely at the end, by doing so, you will interact with many of the peoples in the community, and you will find a mentor for yourself. So yes, let's move on. So, without any further delay, we will see this many things. Initially, I will give you a brief and a short, quick background, like what is open source, and then one needs, and I understand, like, initially one needs enough motivation to get started with. Like, many of you might having some questions like, why should I get involved in this open source world? And yes, so I will share this. And yes, and next we will uh, see, like, end-to-end walkthrough session, making a first contribution on GitHub. And yes, at the last, the turn will be yours. You will ask as many questions you want. So yes. So yes, now jump on to open source. Now, as Khushbu and Sanhati already gave a brief idea yesterday and in the earlier sessions, like what is open source. So yes, simply one can understand that it is a source code which is available publicly, which anyone can use. And yes, it has some licenses, like according to the requirements there are different license of the open source projects. And yes, now I will like to share, like, what open source have the things to provide you. So firstly, it welcomes the contributions, it welcomes the contributors. So even if you are totally new to any project, no matter how big or small, the community always welcomes you and appreciate your interest in that particular project, right? So yes, you never have to feel shy, and never think like what other people will think if I will be asking this silly question. So no, no worries about all that. So yes, it also have active developer community. So you might be thinking, like, where all this developers will be interacting. So yes, there are few apps like Discord and Slack. Might be you have heard or not, I don't know, but yes, there are those channels on there. You can introduce yourself and interact with the developers, to maintainers or any other peoples you want. You can find them and just reach out to all of them. And yes, to get started, the community also handles some events to involve, like the one of the most common one you all have heard about was is Hacktoberfest, and there are other also. There are a curated list on the GitHub you will find. I will share with you and the further. So and yes, mm, different project to projects there are various contributing guidelines to which one need to keep in mind, uh, you will see on the projects I will show you, like one have to follow the code of conduct, everyone have to be nice and excellent to each other. So these are few of the contributing guidelines. And yes, so now as we have talked about the open source, now it is helpful to be familiar with different roles within the open source. So there are mainly three different roles: user, contributor, and maintainer. So a user is passively consumes software, and whereas a contributor is someone who has contributed to improving a piece of a software in any capacity. Some contributors may more so identify as a user, depending on how significant their contributions are. And lastly, the maintainer has the most responsibility and is responsible for the long term maintenance of a project and signing off on any changes on the project. So the example we can take is the project creator is itself a maintainer. This is very common. So yes, this is pretty much about the different roles which are involved in the open source. So now I would like to share, like as I have told earlier, many of you here might be wondering, like, what if I don't know the coding and the tech stack very much deeply? So yes, no need to worry. Uh, one can still contribute to open source because there are many ways. As in this slide, I have captured many things like one can involve with. So starting from the documentation, design, maintaining, mentoring, to anything, like anything. Even there are still much more things you can involve with. I will show you in the GitHub UI once we are doing completing this. There are like blog post, one can write. If you are good at writing, one can submit a blog post, articles, content, and even work on some documentation of the project. And yes, so we will go through while we will looking onto the GitHub UI. So yes. So now the question arises, like I got to know like what is open source. So one might be wondering like why I should get involved in this. So there are many good reasons, because you will get many big and good opportunities if you are getting involved in this open source world, right? So yes, I have mentioned some pointers on the slide, but yes, so let me take an example. If you are aware of some technology, like some is good in front end, back end, but don't theoretical knowledge of those tech stack, right, might be it is included in your curriculum. But what if one wants to implement and gain a practical knowledge, like deeper understanding, you can say. So you can go through the GitHub, take one project and implement some features, like UI issues or anything according to your interest, right? So it will give you more deeper knowledge. And yes, definitely it will level up your skills. I have seen like my college mates asking me like, what is there any solution if 5 to 6 people is working on the project, right? So how we can solve this tedious task of maintaining those code base in a particular manner, in a sequenced manner, right? So yes, the version control system is a must to know and learn. many of you might be not knowing right now, but if you are learning this, then it is obviously benefited to you. And yes, the as I am repeating these things, like you will get a big community of the people with the developers, you can say. Those peoples are having a years of experience in this project, and they will definitely guide you to make your first PR and will help you throughout the process. And yes, after doing this, you can add this good works in your portfolio and resume while you are getting out of interview or any jobs. And so it is definitely a good thing to do is and involve is. And the last thing I want to mention, like learn from and give back to the community. You can see me like last year I have involved in the Girl Script Summer of Code, right? And I have worked pretty well, and definitely and I would say like my open source journey got started with Girl Script Summer of Code only. And it pushes me day by day to explore more in the open source community. So yes, I am learning, and right now I am making aware the students who are right now in their first and the sophomore year. And yes, so it's one type of learning from and giving back to the community. So here comes the main thing of which many of the people are might be awaited since long time. So yes, first thing, many of you are having some doubts, like in a big pool of the projects, GitHub have a big pool, you can say it's an ocean of the projects, right? So how one can find according to their interest, their knowledge, project and task to work on. So yes, I would suggest you like make a checklist. What kind of checklist, you will ask? So yes, get started with the first impressions. So first impressions, what I mean, like see, uh, it interests you or not. At the first sight you will see like it's a big code base and I wouldn't be understanding anything. But don't do this, like and you can, I would suggest you some further steps, but yes, first check it out like it interests me or not. And second one, I would say like check the commit history. I mean, you can check the last date of the commit done in the project. What it notifies that it the project is alive or not. I have seen many projects like which have the commit date, uh, which don't have any commit since last 2 years, and so I feel like no one will respond me if I am doing some comments in the project. And yes, I think like obviously we feel like nobody is working in this project, so I don't get hands dirty on this. And yes, what comes next? Now, first impressions are good, right? We are assuming that first impressions are good. Now see that will this work. Now check that the task I am taking, first check the task, like how it is, small, big, it the modification of the files needs too much, or it's a big enough, or just 1 to 2 lines of changing and thing, right? So first check it and then see that I will be able to run it on my local system and check if any things goes wrong or not. So yes, these are the few things that you need to keep in mind while finding a project and task. Okay, so yes. Now, I would here I have mentioned some resources like where you can go through and search some project. As I have told, Hacktoberfest in GitHub, if you are searching Hacktoberfest, there will be a bunch of projects you will see, and you can find them. And these are other resources as well. You can go through it when you are getting started. So yes. This is about technical setup and the process. Once you have find your project, right, that this project is interesting and this task is good to work on, and you have some thought that I will contribute to this, right? So what comes next? That there are three steps. You need to check the prerequisites, then setup, and then orientation. What it means? Let me share my screen. We will go through it now hands on, so you will understand more. Let me share my screen. Okay, so yes, let's see. Like at this point, I'm assuming that you all have a GitHub account of yours, right? So yes, I'm moving on to the next point. Like if one have GitHub account, then how it work on the public repository. Here, for example, I am taking this repository, and you can take anyone of your interest, right? So yes, the first step would be the forking. Here you will see the fork button, right? So I will fork it. Now what's the fork mean? Like this, if I will click on this button, then this creates a copy of the project repository in my GitHub account, right? And wait, okay, so let's do it. So what it does is, there is a upstream project, right? And yes, now you will see the project I have forked from this, and this is my username. So what it means, like I have made a copy in my account, right? And before working on this project, one should follow the steps. Okay, so first is forking. We have done, right? And everybody, I hope everybody gets what is forking, right? Please let me know in comment section so that I can go on. Yes, so now what's next after forking? Then comes cloning. Clone. Now what clone means? So while still you are in the repository, you need to clone this. So what basically cloning means, that it copies the repository files and also the commit history. You can see, I would yes, these are the commit history. 185 commits are done here, right? So it will copy all these files and this commits to my local system, right? Local system means where we have the file managers and all. Okay, so yes, I will do it. How we can do it? Let me show you.
Meha, can we just go once again? One of us, like some of us, are wanting to go over it once again, like the
Okay,
forking
like
portion.
forking. Okay, okay, sure. Yes. So yes, let me start. For example, you can consider any public repository. Here, I have considered this one, right? And in any repository, you will see these three buttons. But the first step, that one, take an example, like I need to make changes in this repository, right? So the first step you need to follow is, I need a copy of this. I can't directly work on this main repository, right? I need to first set up in my account and then to my computer, right? And then I will submit a PR. That's the further steps, but I am going through step by step. So here, fork, what it means, like I have said, it creates a copy. So if you will click secondly, this will tell you like the fork already exists. I think now it's clear. Please let me know so that I can still make you clear if you have doubt. Simply, you can understand, like it creates a copy of the project repository in your GitHub account. Okay. So yes, I'm assuming now it's clear. So moving forward. So as I've said, after forking, what comes? So cloning, as I have said, this is fork stages in our GitHub UI, right? And now cloning I am doing in my local system, and then I will modify those changes in my any code editor, right? So how we can clone this? Um, you will see this green button. Go through it, copy the URL, and yes, open the terminal. Let me show you. Okay. The command you need to follow is git clone and then copy the URL and make sure that this URL is of your account. Here you will see my username, right? Don't clone the upstream URL. Please make sure this, as we are going to make changes in this our forked repo, not directly to the upstream, right? So git clone and this command, and yes, it's pretty simple. It will clone it. Now I have this this whole folder, as you can see here, this one in my local system, right? So let's see. We need to navigate. Now I have cloned. So I will navigate to my local repository, and yes, here I have gone inside this repository. Now, please let me know if till now it is clear to you. So what we have done, let me quickly go through. First is forking. We are making a copy to our GitHub account. Then second one is cloning, that we are doing to take those files and folders, everything done till now to our local system to make some changes in the code editor, right? So yes, that's till here. Now what's next? Now we need to check that this repository, which is our local system, is having the connection between this origin or not. And yes, let me clear some few terms, like I have mentioned origin. So what means origin? Origin means the repository which I have created under my GitHub account, right? And not the upstream one. There are two technical terms, upstream and origin. What upstream means? Upstream means where I have forked from. For example, this is called upstream, the main repository you can say, and which is under my GitHub account is known as origin. So yes, now I need to check that my fork is the origin remote or not. So yes, the command is git remote hyphen v. So yes, here you can see origin is set to my forked repository, right? And yes, let me share with you, like what if one don't see this. Sometimes it might happens that origin is not set by default, so one can add it like git remote add origin, and you need to set this URL to the origin if it is not there. So yes, let's see what the output I got. So yes, it's giving me like remote origin already exists. As you can see, it was already here, but I have showed you like what if it doesn't already set up. So one can set it up with git remote add origin and the URL, right? So yes, uh, I think many have this issue, like what we are doing this. So we are adding the remote, like this local. Like we need to connect the local repository and the one which we have forked in this GitHub UI. How we will connect this and the local one? By adding the remote URL, right? It will synchronize the work at the both end. I think it's clear. So yes, let me know if you have any doubts. So yes, let's see one workflow. I think you might be somehow confused. So yes, let's see here what I am having. So see, I am explaining like we have local repository, which I have done here, right? This is my local one. So and I have forked one and the upstream one, right, as I have explained. So what we have done right now, this is the upstream one, like I have shown you. Let me add it here. This you can say in our case, this is the upstream one, right? Set as upstream. What we have done is we have forked to my account, right? So what it looks like, this is the URL of my fork, right? Okay. So you can see your fork on GitHub set up as origin, right? This we have set up as the origin. We have seen here, like what's the origin? This, right? And what we have done further, we have cloned it to the local repository. Now I think the flow is pretty much clear. So I'm moving on forward. So we have connected this fork and the local with what, with by setting a URL, right, by adding the URL with the remote command. Now what if I want to connect with the upstream? How can I? So yes, we can do it by git remote add upstream, and yes, and the URL of the upstream. Okay. So yes, we have added, and now we can check how it looks like, how we have set it up. So yes, now you will see like origin is set up to the my forked one. For this is the URL of the repository which I have forked in my GitHub account, right? And the upstream is set it up to the main project, right? Here you will see my username is not there. That means this is the upstream project, right? Now whatever we'll be doing here will be synchronized to this both URLs, origin and the upstream. The main purpose behind doing this is we can sync up both the things, both the repo, right? So yes, till now, any doubts, let me know. So yes, now what's come next? I will be revising few steps as we are approaching to the few more. Okay, so please don't worry, and it will be not so much confusing once you will trying hands on. If you are trying with me right now, then also it's all right. And if you are facing any issue, please let me know. I will try to solve it. Okay. So yes, now we have set up the remote URLs. What's next? So pull the latest changes from the upstream into your local repository. What I mean is, in between the time period, like when you are doing some work in your local system, in between those time, what if another person have made changes to this repository? How will you sync it up? That's the question, right? We need to sync it up with the other person changes also. So how we will do it? So yes, first we can pull those changes, pull, right, to our repository. So what's the command? Git pull upstream. And yes, now here we need to write the branch name. So you need to go through the master repo, sorry, upstream repo, and then check that which is the default branch here. Mainly, in most cases, it would be master, and in some repo, it would be main. Main and the master would be either of one in all the repos, right? So yes, here I am saying like master is the default branch. Okay. So yes, git pull upstream master branch is there. So yes, what I'm getting here, it is already up to date. Now if you have forked and cloned the project repository just a few minutes ago, it's very unlikely that there will be any changes. Okay, so when you need to use it, like it's since been a long time and you are not working on this, it's been 2 to 3 days, then there are some chances, like there are some changes, right? So you can use this command. But in right now, in this case, there are not any changes because we have pulled and we have forked and cloned just a few minutes ago. Okay, so yes, now let's move on to like I need to make some changes in this repo. So what is the step towards this all the above steps we have done for setting up, right? As we have seen in this we have seen in the slides, like we need to initially set up, and now I am moving forward to doing some changes. So what I will do, I need to create a branch. So here I let me explain you like what is branch. So you cannot directly make changes on the master because at some time it will create a mess, and it is a tedious task to keep a track of if you are working on more than one issue, right? So I would not recommend you to make all those changes on the master branch. I will suggest you to create a new branch apart from the master and make the changes, right? So yes, let's see how we can make a new branch. So git checkout hyphen p, and yes, you now you need to give the branch name. So you can give anything like relevant to the issue. So I am here, I want to solve this issue, right? You can see what is issue. So this is the upstream. As I have told you, like never get much irritated by seeing this code base, right? Jump onto the issues tab. How we can find issues, let me share this with you. Like here there are labels, you can filter out anything. So I want to see good first issues initially. As a beginner, I would like to see some good first issues. Here it is not there any, but there might be okay, let's I am interested in documentation. Okay, so here I got two issues on the documentation. I want to work on this. So yes, what it says, you don't need to understand this right now. I'm just, this is for example. Okay, so this issue can be any. So I'm just doing so like giving the branch name. You can give anything like any. So I am just giving relevant like infrastructure, doc infra. Okay, doc infra. So yes. Now you can check the branches here by git branch command. So see, it is showing me this two, like master and doc infra. So this green color means right now my pointer is on doc infra. So what it means, if I would make any changes in the code base, it will be done on this branch and not in the master branch. As I have already told you that don't make any changes, modifications in the master branch because it will create a confusing task afterwards if it have a lot many changes at some point of time, right? Not in all cases, but in some cases. So yes, I would recommend you to create a branch. So we have done that. Check out, and by git branch command you can see how many branches you have in your local system. So yes, now I will make changes in the code. So yes, I will open up my Visual Studio Code. Let's see what we can. Here I'm just doing some example kind of thing. So yes, I have gone through some directory inside the readme file and I will do some changes. So for now, just for example, I am not doing any big things. So let me just copy some text and add it for now. The purpose is I want to show the process and not the exit. Okay. Okay. So I have made some changes. Like the green indicates that you have added something, inserted something, right? This green line suggests you like you have made some modifications and added something. So yes, now I'm done. I will save it. Okay. Well, let's move on to CLI command line, right? Use your You can use any text editor or id to make your changes. Yes, okay. So what's next? Like I have made changes here, so what do you think the next step would be? Anybody please comment it. So yes, okay, let me share you. Like now I have made changes. I will stage it. Like, let me explain. Git add dot. Now what it will do is git add command will select the files which I want to commit. Commit means I want to I want to add those files to my repository. Like I'm sure that I want to submit these changes to the repository. Okay, so git add will select the files. Okay, so and yes, let me share some syntax with you. Like git add dot means everything's like here I have only changed one file, and if you are doing 2 to 3 files changes, then it will add all the things at a time if you are using the dot, right? So and yes, what if you want to only add 1 to 2 files? So yes, the syntax is file one, anything like file one is redmi.md, you can take example, and space and then file two, you can add this way. So if you want to submit, if you want to commit some files only, then you can prefer this. Okay. Otherwise, if you want to commit everything you have done, then simply you can put dot. So it will add everything. Okay. So yes, now you can see git status. So yes, it will show you like you have modified this directory and this file inside. Okay, get status. Get status is will show you, and yes, there is another command get diff. So it will show you like okay, here it is not showing because okay. So I think so, yes, it suggests that I have made changes into this files. Now, what I have told that git add will just select those files. Now I need to commit it. Git commit hyphen m, and yes, now you need to put some useful and meaningful message here, like what you have made changes. So anything you can put up. I am doing like doc infra doc for infra section. Okay. So yes, this is now as I have selected those files by git add command, I am committing to the repository. So git add, yes, it done. It says that 20 insertions done, and yes, that's the just the logs, right? You don't need to worry about that. So yes. And yes, I would highly recommend, like if you are making multiple sets of changes, it's a good practice to make a commit after each set. Like after some 2 to 3 files, you can commit it so that it would be easier. It's just a tip. Okay. So now what will be the next? We have committed every changes. So yes, we will push it to the repository. How we can do that? Git push origin, and yes, the branch name is doc infra, right? So git push origin from, we need to push in the origin URL as we have set earlier, right? So yes, it will ask this. Yes. Now this indicates that the changes is done. Now where you will see it. So yes, now the main comes is we can make a PR as we have done some changes. So let's go to the GitHub UI. Okay. Here, let me go through my forked repository. Okay. So yes, as I have made doc infra branch, right, and I have done some changes, this will appear on the top of the page, right? So yes, now you need to click on compare and pull request. Here, they don't have any template like what to, but some repositories have. So yes, you can say that this fixes this number of issue. This doesn't matter, but these are the good skills to, yes, fixes 93, right? Dog fraud, and yes, here below you can see like what we have made some changes. And yes, there you go. Finally, we are making and creating our first pull request, right? So yes, and yes, I need to share this one more feature. Like at some point, if you are not sure and need to interact and want to ask some maintainers, like you are not sure about the changes, then you what you can do is create a draft pull request. Here you can see. Don't directly create a pull request, create a draft one. So what it would be like, no one will review it, it's not ready for review. It suggests, basically what it suggests, like it's not ready for the review. It's just a draft one. I am working, you can suggest me and I will do it, and then you can finally review it, right? So here it's not the case. I am doing create pull request, right? So yes, it's done. Here we have made our pull request. You can see this is the upstream repository. And there in the pull request tab, our pull request will be seen. So these are the few basic steps to make your first pull request. In this steps, you don't need to worry about this for now. As a beginner, you just can go over through this. And yes, this will are the reviewers who will be reviewing. And yes, so let's see on the slides. uh, can you please share?
Yes, just a
Anybody is
second.
having any doubts till now, please let me know. I will.
We have added the slides here. We can discuss from it more. I hope the slides are visible.
Yes, but
Can we just move back a slide? I think we missed one. Yes, here it is.
so yes. As we have followed this all steps, let me explain you again quickly so that the basic flow gets clear to everyone. Like what we have done initially is create a branch, new branch. We never do changes on the master branch, so we are creating a new one. So create a master branch, right? Then a big loop is there. So what it is, once I'm modifying the code, right, I am running the test on my local system. The example which right now I have shown you includes the documentation thing, but there are some pull requests which need test, like something you are when you are submitting some PRs related to the website, then you need to test that the UI is correct or not. So that is one kind of test, and if it is not correct, so you need to adjust those tests and code accordingly, like whatever in what way you want. So yes, adjust the test and code, and then commit and push those changes. And yes, it continues until and unless it not get the proper thing, like what the maintainers want, right? So yes, once you commit and push, then jump onto the open PR section, right? And what it is written, like PR feedback and iteration might take a while. Okay, so the main important thing is you need to keep patience while the maintainers are reviewing your PR, because they have already so many PRs in their project to review. So it would be not a quick response you might get. But yes, so yes, you have to keep patience while uh, maintainers are reviewing your. And yes, once then if maintainers review your code and suggesting some changes, then you need to follow this process again, like again modify the code, again check the test and adjust accordingly, and then again committing and pushing those changes on the particular branch, right? So yes, then finally at some point PR will get accepted and merged, code finally gets merged into the upstream repository. So yes, this is the simplified loop of the making your first contribution, right? So now I assume that everybody is pretty much clear. So yes, this is the basic timeline. Like any open source programs have some timeline. Like take for example, Girl Script Summer of Code, right? So initially they have still I have seen that they haven't updated the project list on their website, but soon it will be, right? So yes, initially there will be some time to choosing your project, and then after 1 to 2 week I assume their contribution period starts. So what you can do is in contribution period you can forking and cloning and done the setup into your local system, so that it not take much time in the while submitting your contribution, right? So yes, as soon as the contribution period starts, you can do an early setup in your local system. And yes, when the mentors and the maintainers are ready to see your PRs coming in, you can submit your contribution. So that's a pretty much brief timeline of the project or any program, open source program, you can say.
Now we're gonna talk about the frequently asked questions that we got during the registration process. I'm gonna ask the questions and Meha is gonna answer them. And if you have any more questions, you can post it in the comment section, like the live chat. We'll be addressing those. Firstly, we got this question a lot. Is it necessary to learn the React.js, Express.js, MongoDB, etc., to contribute in Girl Script Summer of Code? I know those are given in that tech stacks languages. I'll share the screen for that registration form. Then you can get an idea, and then she'll be answering these. Here is the registration form. You'll be redirected to this Google form. And here these are written. but these are actually just the examples. These are not the only tech stacks that you need to know, because Girl Script Summer of Code is actually a very uh, wait, 1 second. Is the screen visible? Yes, it is.
Yes, yes,
So
yes, I can take this question. Like, yes, I would suggest you that there will be many projects. Till now, I see that the projects are not listed on the website, but yes, soon it will be, and you will find, and I'm damn sure, like, you will definitely find the projects with many other tech stacks too, because last year I have seen, you can say almost every tech stack was there, like everyone can work. Machine learning, you can say front end, back end, scripting language, you can say anything, like. So yes, that
even if you are
this
like
might
just
not be an issue.
fluent with even if you're just fluent with like C, C++, Python, Java, you can just write them down. The example is meant to show the format in which you have to list them. You have to just write it separated by a comma. That is the only thing, like this. You have to just write them down.
Yes,
There's nothing
exactly.
much else to it. It's just an example as shown. Yet a lot of you have this doubt. So getting back to the FAQs, what is the benefit of participating in Girl Script Summer of Code 2022?
Okay, so yes, as you have, as I take my example, I got kickstarted my journey of open source through GullScript Summer of Code. Earlier, I was totally unaware like such things also exist in this world, like tech world. So yes, it is definitely beneficial to you if you are participating in this. You will get to know many things about open source and many real world projects also. Yes.
And one more thing about Girl Script Summer of Code is that you will be assigned mentors to it. And if you see while registering, you will find an option, like you'll be given to give up to note down your Discord profile. So that is mainly required only because for the communication purposes, because every project that you choose, you'll be assigned a Discord channel. So where you can communicate with other developers and the mentor who will be assigned to your project. So even if you are not very fluent with it, if you
Yes.
have any queries, the mentors will help you out. So like that is also very, like you'll get to learn new skills. So that is like one of the most important benefit of participating in Girls School Summer of Code. It will get you started with the open source journey. You will no longer be
Yes,
intimidated
as
by
soon
it.
yes, it is especially for, I would suggest, like first year and the second year students. And yes, as soon as you are spending much more time to in exploring this open source projects, you will get many other big opportunities as well. There are some paid remote programs as well in which you can participate. But first, in to reach out there, we need to start our journey with some beginner friendly things. So yes,
Yeah.
it's a good.
So next one we have how to find the right projects, like how to
So
see
yes,
like which
I
one is good
think
for us.
yes. So yes, I would like to cover it first. Like as after going through the slides, this question might be clear. Like there are many other sources. Hacktoberfest 24 pull requests, if I remember, and you will get many. Like according to TechStack, there is in GitHub there is a feature search button, right? There you have to just write your tech stack. Like for example, Python. You will get a list of projects there, and you will, I am damn sure that you will find it right away. Okay, so yes.
So the next one that we have how to manage academics with the open source contribution.
Oh, yes, this is quite a common question. Like, yes, you need to divide some time management. Like, yes, I also understand. Like, it's really very tough to do this. What you can do is on the weekends you can spend time on the open source things, and on the working days you might focus on academics. It depends on the person to person, like conveniency, you can say.
And then we have what is the level of expertise that we require to perform well as a contributor.
Required to perform. No, like I would say, no level of expertise. If you are totally new, then it's also fine. Everybody will help you. I would suggest, like, if you even if you have a small question, you can put it out on Discord channel of the particular project, and yes, there will be many other people who will help you out. You will get 10 to 15 of answers over there, and yes, then you can move on. No expertise is needed.
Yeah, only the basics will work because obviously you'll have your mentor to help you with and other developers.
Yes, I would say just try to interact with the people. Yes, that's the solution.
Yeah, and like that's one of the main reasons why actually we should consider venturing out into open source journey because you get to build a very good community with developers. There's one more thing that I would like to say is this one. Just a second, I'll share my screen. Yes, the like I said yesterday, that the last date of registering is actually 15th, but we just got to know that the deadlines have been postponed, like it has been extended to the registrations for contributors is till 25th of February. This one is for the contributor. This one is for the mentorship. So if you want to become a mentor, you need to apply by 23rd of February. And for the project submission, you still have time till 20th February. I will encourage you to submit any kind of projects that it is interesting. That is, you just got to sign them up. You'll be considered for selection because it doesn't need to be very high level because it's a very beginner level program. So obviously, you need to give some beginner level projects as well, so that a like beginner level contributors can actually get a hold of open source contribution. So one more thing there is, you can also get the updates of the Girl Script Summer of Code from the LinkedIn page. Like they have already updated the bunch of projects they have selected until now in the LinkedIn page. If you want, you can go check it out from their LinkedIn page. They have the name by Girl Script Summer of Code. So they'll be updating the list in their website very soon enough once they complete the process of selecting the required projects. Until then, you can, if you want, you can go ahead and check those out in the LinkedIn page. So coming back to the slides, I think we are pretty much done with it. So I'll be sharing the important links in the chat box as well. I'll share the registration for participants and the mentor and the project links. You can just go ahead from that particular link itself. You don't need to worry about it. I'll be sharing those. If you have any more doubts, you can just type them on your what is it, live chat. Okay, there is one more person who is talking about what is React JS. Like they Anubhav wants to know about React JS. If you have any insight on that, it will be helpful.
Uh, to be honest, I have never tried my hand on this tech stack. It's a framework of the JavaScript, I guess. So the person who are working on the front end things like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, they are using the React JS things.
So, and there is one more person who has been telling about how to become uh, how to become good in web development. I would suggest you to go ahead. There are multiple free resources available online in YouTube, Udemy, Coursera. There are many resources. You can just go ahead and learn them. It will be very helpful. And then plus you'll have your mentors to help you with. So don't worry about it. Just don't hesitate. Go ahead and just register. And I promise it will be a very eventful journey. So I don't think we have any more questions. So Um, so I guess we'll wrap it up now. I'll just leave the participation links in the comment section. You can go check those out. the project. Remind you once again the deadlines. For the contributors, it is 25th of February. For the mentors, it is 23rd of February. And for the projects, it is 20th of February. So that's it. Um, we have we have come to the end of this discussion. So we'll ask. I'll just add Khushbu. Yes. So yeah, it was a pretty informative session. Thank you, Meha, for taking out time from your busy schedule and helping us. Thank you so much. It was
Anytime.
really
Yes.
informative.
I would also love to mentor the newbies in stepping out in the open source world.
Yes. And thank you, Khushbu, for
Thank you,
coordinating
Shanati,
this.
for collaborating with me. Yeah, same goes for you
Yes.
too.
Yes, and lastly,
Yeah.
lastly, thank you to both of you, like invited me to speak.
Yeah, it was great having you. Like you explained everything very nicely. Like it was a great session. Thank you.
And
So
if
with
you
that,
guys will have any queries, then please connect with us over LinkedIn and other platforms. We
yes,
will be happy to solve your questions.
yes. You have any
Yes,
queries, just connect with us. Meha, you can just add, Meha and Khushbu can just add your LinkedIn profile in the chat box so that they
Yeah,
can get
sure.
it.
sure.
If any one of you any doubts, anything, we're happy to help. I'll just remind you once again the dates because these won't be extended any further. There were many requests of actually extending the dates, which is the reason it has been extended from 15th of February to 25th. So please do register by 25th. Do not delay. It will take hardly 5 to 10 minutes. Just go ahead. There, you fill out the necessary details, and then obviously, then you'll be redirected to another second page of the form where you'll be asked why do you want to participate and what all do you feel that you'll gain from it. So answer those accordingly, and you'll be considered as a participant. Yes, I'll just type them. 25th February is for the contributors, and just a minute, I'll just type them out. 23rd February is for the mentors, and 20th February is for the project submission. Please do go submit your project. It can be anything, it can be very simple, even if it's a website based on HTML, CSS, anything. It can be of app development, web development, machine learning, anything that you feel like it is a very interesting project. You can just go ahead, and it will also help you in a way because a lot of times some of the projects are maybe they're not very responsive, and you do not have the time to devote the entire time to that project itself, so you'll have another bunch of collaborators helping you with. So yeah, go list them out. I have given the dates just for your reminder. I'll add Khushbu's LinkedIn profile as well.
Last words I like to say, please guys try to participate because definitely this will help you out and it will have some positive impact on you. And this is meant for beginners, so don't be afraid of the tech stacks that I don't have very much experience and all. This is basically to promote for those into open source, those who are beginners. So try to involve in this and try to participate.
Yeah, like once you get a hold of open source journey, you'll be able to participate in Google Summer of Code. You have all heard about it. So once you get a hold of it, you won't be like intimidated by it any longer. And don't worry about it. Like I said, you will have mentors. Like even Meha is also there to help you out. I am also there. Even Khushbu is there for any kind of queries that you have. Just connect with us in LinkedIn and we'll help you out. Definitely, we'll help you out. So don't worry about it.
Okay, so thank you. Let's end the session. I guess
Yeah, we'll just end the
it's
session now. So it was good
thank you
having
guys
you
for
all.
coming.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone.
thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.